Hello, welcome to Chopped Greens. I am your host, Philip Amerine, sitting alongside
Gary Boucher.
And for a very special occurrence in the Chopped Greens archives, we are sitting next to and privileged to be with
Hunter Goetz.
Very nice. Welcome to the show, Hunter. Nice to have you aboard. Now, let's do this interview style. Give us a little bit of your repertoire.
Wait. How about interrogation style?
Oh, you want to be good cop or bad cop?
I want to be bad cop.
I like you both to be bad cop.
Oh, like in the Lego movie, he just erases the good cop.
Just switch our face around.
Yes, okay.
Sounds good to me.
So,
you go first.
What makes you qualified to talk about movies?
Well, man, I've been studying film for about 2 years, and I've kind of had a fun...
Where do you go to school?
GCC, man. But I've been having a following for film since I was a kid. My dad used to sit me down when I was a kid while he did chores, and when most kids were watching Teletubbies and like Barney,
They just had babies, by the way, Telebabies. I'm not kidding.
I saw that.
That is the weirdest thing I've seen on Twitter, Facebook, whatever it was I saw.
Yeah.
Outside of the vacuum cleaner. The vacuum cleaner was oddly cool.
What's going on with America right now?
Telebabies.
But
they were telepregnant, and I'm wow telewubsy.
Oh my god.
Out of my mind.
My dad, instead of watching Teletubbies and Barney, I used to watch Jurassic Park, Jaws, Alien, you name it, man. The good stuff. But a lot of movies. I learned a lot about them. I'm ready to talk about them.
Well, very much like in our film that we all watched this past weekend, Dunkirk, we are accepting of new people, new cultures, what have you. So
What?
Well,
What kind of segue was that?
That was just being...
It was like 4 out of 10, bro.
4 out of 10.
Yeah.
My best one has to still be just the Arnold from your awful tree movie. I forget what it was. 1,000 Trees.
The Sea of Trees.
The Sea of Trees.
God. Is that McConaughey film or something?
Yeah, it's the worst film A24 has ever made. It's actually terrible.
Yeah.
It's an A24 film?
Yes,
oh my God.
Was that the one that everybody left saying, that's a great film, and you were the lone person saying, that was awful?
No, it has like a 9% on Rotten
Okay, so everybody else agreed with you. You were the last one to the party to join on that film.
That's when we went back and watched universally terrible movies just to do it.
Blockbuster bombs.
Yeah.
Great episode. Go back and listen if you want to hear nothing but Arnold. Arnold.
No!
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, however, we did watch Dunkirk this past weekend.
Yes. Christopher Nolan's new outing.
Yes, and as we go along, and we tend to, let's start out with the cast list. Now, we've got a lot of unknowns here, first
Yeah,
timers.
the cast list, besides Harry Styles, and then Gilderoy Lockhart from Harry Potter, doesn't really matter that much.
Really.
About the
It's the first Christopher Nolan film without Michael Caine. Come on.
He was...
But even then, they still got Tom Hardy snuck in there.
Yeah, they snuck him in there.
It's true.
Snuck him in there. Those eyes, you can't skip those
I was
eyes.
gonna say the performance, man, all in his eyes. It's great. We got
Mark Rylance as Mr. Dawson. So
Fionn Whitehead.
yes, he plays Tommy, the main protagonist.
I didn't even know his name was Tommy until I read about the movie. They never say his name.
No, and that's honestly within this entire film. That's kind of the idea, is that it's this unity and not specializing and picking out certain characters to make them individualized. You're supposed to feel the entire breadth of the struggle of just trying to escape. And so, without getting too attached to one character or another, and just realizing that they're within an entire problem that they're all just trying to get out.
There are downfalls to not having a protagonist, which we will talk about.
Of course. So let's just start out on a silent note.
A silent note.
Because that was where the opening started out for us. There was a specific choice to start out in near silence outside of secondary audio of guns or papers falling or a window creak, but no audio or no audible dialogue for, I don't know, it seemed like the first 10 to 15 minutes. It was very Bambi-esque. Much better than Bambi in that regard, but...
And then you get hit with this cacophony of explosions and ship-shinking and yelling and gunshots and airplanes and submarines for the next 2 hours.
Yeah.
So it's the one moment of peace you get the whole frickin' movie.
It's interesting because I think that Nolan's known for having great inciting openings. He likes to catch you right there at the beginning.
Yeah.
And for sure this one was more subtle by all means, but I think it was beautiful because it rose the tension. You know, there was little to no dialogue. I know there was no dialogue at all.
Like hardly in the whole film.
There was little audio, and if it was in there, it was very subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And those papers, those I think like 5-6 words. We surround you, or 3 words.
Yeah, so
that was enough to tell you what the entire movie was going to be encapsulating about.
Pretty much, for those of you guys who don't know, the movie is about a battle that happened in World War II on Dunkirk Beach, where British and French soldiers got trapped on the beach, and I guess the Germans were closing in on them, dropping all these papers saying, "We surround you," and they basically had nowhere to go. They were being closed in on by planes, by the sea, by land soldiers, and so eventually civilians came to the call, brought their boats over, and did their best to save them. That's kind of the gist of the movie.
And let's really expand upon that idea of a war film, because we've seen a lot of variations of war films.
This is the most unique war movie I've ever seen. For sure.
We have Full Metal Jacket, we have Black Hawk Down, where it's just those action takes on warfare. I mean, even War of Planet of the Apes. I mean, if you just want to get technical of where it's an action film dedicated to the intricacies of war, and you're seeing soldiers fighting, whatever it is. It wasn't that.
No,
it wasn't even Escape from a War prison movie, where we've seen that somewhat. I mean, The Great Escape, we've seen that in film covered pretty substantially.
It also wasn't a character study like American Sniper, which those movies came out a lot. Saving Private Ryan,
Apocalypse Now,
Apocalypse Now, even Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
What made Dunkirk so unique compared to other war films is Nolan specifically chose a battle that placed his characters in a surrounding area where they could not fight back. They had little to no chance of fighting back against the enemy.
Yep.
And they even said at the beginning of the movie, the entire British army was surrounded by tanks. And I think one of the characters says at one point, "Why send in the tanks when they can pick us off from the air like fish in a barrel?"
Yeah.
That's what makes it interesting. Of all the battles Nolan could have chose throughout World War II, several, even hundreds of battles, he chose the one where the soldiers couldn't fight back.
Yeah, there's like hardly any action. I mean, they're getting picked off and bombed, but nobody's fighting. There's no intense quote-unquote action scenes. It's a bunch of dudes like sitting or standing on a beach, and every 10 minutes, they have this establishing shot, and you see 400,000 soldiers, planes are flying by, and they're just slowly marching like one by one onto these boats.
If you notice too, there's not a single drop of blood in that film.
No.
What war film does not have blood? That's the complexity of Nolan. He takes it to a step above where we don't need.
It's not about that.
How many times have we seen soldiers' legs being blown off, and how many times have we seen the struggles of rescuing one another, or flanking an enemy, or artillery, or the helicopters come flying in planes and they rescue the soldiers last minute as they're being surrounded. This isn't that. This is a tale of survival. It's a tale of bonding. It's a tale of soldiers bonding in cliques to hopefully hold out against the enemy.
Yeah.
And really, it's a tale of, just to expand on your point, it's survival, really, is what it comes down to, because while there is not much gore, a lot of what the tensity and action in this film is artificial anxiety. I mean, there's a moment where our main group of soldiers that we're trying to see, or we see trying to escape from the beach, they're stuck within a ship, and we don't even see the people shooting at them. But while there are people shooting at them, we just see how they are holed up in here, and we're very much in an Alfred Hitchcock idea where we're just where the moment of action is, and everything outside doesn't really matter. You don't have to directly show us as an audience that there's.
It's scarier because they have no idea where it's coming from.
You're seeing it directly from their point of view of just survive and move on, and a lot of the themes are, this is survival. This is what entails in war. This is what it means. And even towards the end, I don't want to get. I mean, it's hard in a film like this because it's a historical battle. So I mean, you would theoretically know what happens.
Yeah.
But it's very telling that not only it's interesting how it's a transition of, if once they get home, they're immediately shipped right back out.
Yeah.
I mean, your mission is over of survival, but it's not over. It's now just progressing into a new norm, and the entire setting is beautifully set up. And I just Christopher Nolan does get a lot of props for me within this film of creativity, whether it's the no narration open. It's ingenious of filmmakers, for me, from my point of view. If you can create a backstory, where we are now, just telling everything the audience needs.
And not even narration, no banter between characters,
Nothing.
no dialogue.
It's so minimalistic that we know that these soldiers are desperate.
You see these dudes limping down the street, they're drinking out of a water hose. There's like 3 of them.
And seeing them run and and even creating a massive, almost Gone with the Wind, Army-esque motif where I'm sure a lot of it was CGI, but it looked realistic. Where there's this expansive beach, and you just see
nobody does that better than Nolan.
But as I think, as you guys probably know, Christopher Nolan is very old school. He doesn't stick to the new age filmmakers that came in around the early 2000s, where they were experimenting with all these new digital effects and CGI. That was very popular to do at that time. He's very old school. He likes his effects very practical,
and you see that
you can tell that, and you can see that his settings were real. They were not green screen.
Apparently,
they were not built.
He hired out like old British Navy destroyers to like be in this film. Like he did it all. You know,
the Spitfires, the planes. If you guys don't know, the Spitfires, the planes that the pilots flying were fantastic, beautifully. If I'm not mistaken, I read that several of the planes were real. There were several Spitfires flying where he attached the IMAX.
And he mounted an IMAX camera
on there, and that's something you've never seen before. And then there was other sequences where he made prop planes that were a little more miniature. So when you saw the long shots, the long, extensive master shots, it would look like it's an actual size of that plane, but in reality it was a smaller plane. But
still a practical effect. Yeah. He was using miniatures and not just a CGI plane.
And going back to characters, I think it's very interesting that Nolan continues this complexity by telling the story in three individual parts.
Yep.
He tells it by the land, the air, and the sea.
In 3 different time zones.
In 3 different time zones.
With 3 different characters.
With 2 different perspectives. The soldier's perspective, and if you count the pilot, exactly.
Soldier,
civilian.
And civilian. Yeah.
He stages each event throughout the story through the latest viewpoint to the second viewpoint to the third viewpoint. And what I mean by that is he could start you off with the most recent drastic conflict and then move to the second viewpoint or point of view, and you get a sense of what happened before that, and then another viewpoint right before that. So the event might happen first, but the build-up is starting from beginning, which is an interesting, in my personal opinion, it's definitely a beautiful technique that you don't see filmmakers doing nowadays.
You've seen, I'm assuming,
Memento.
Memento, yeah. Yes. He loves to play with narrative.
He loves to play with time.
Yeah, with time, Inception,
space,
Memento.
And time. I mean, the guy runs on space and time.
So he can take those skills, take them to Interstellar, Memento, and now Dunkirk, where I think that there's a lot of strength to what he did with twisting the narrative. There was, at first, a little bit of confusion for me. It obviously all, you figure it out by the end who was doing what at what time. There's reveals and there's like action sequences that tell you what happened,
and even a coordination of timelines that overlap each other. So you're remembering, this is what happened a while back. This is the foundation of that moment.
But what that does, it basically eliminates like a protagonist. This movie doesn't have a traditional protagonist. We just did War of the Planet of the Apes, which is the most protagonist-driven movie ever, and now we are in a movie that it's not about one character, it's about an idea or really a feeling for me more than
the most ensemble film we've seen in a while.
Yeah, because
outside of maybe Pulp Fiction, but even
Memento twists narrative, but it is about that main guy. Interstellar plays with time, but it's about Matthew McConaughey's character. This one, it's about the feeling and the anxiety of being there, and like you said, survival. We don't even know these guys' names. We don't know where they come from. We know that they're British kids trying to escape, and that's it. Otherwise, it's about the experience.
There's my icebreaker with that. My fault.
There's the rub.
There's the rub.
And here we get into the
here's the part where I get the movie rub on my skin. With every Nolan film, I love his films because of his characters. His characters have always driven me to love his films, whether it be Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception.
Even Tom Hardy in Inception.
Even in Tom
that
Hardy
was a coming out
Inception.
party for me.
Yeah.
For Tom Hardy.
I mean, Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. I mean, I fell in love with that movie because... Not only because of the setup and the design and the actual scale of the story, but because of Matthew McConaughey's character. I think every in movie that Nolan's done has been so character driven, and yes, it's had a beautiful story along with it, but you've fallen in love with the characters. I mean, obviously, most people can agree they loved Heath Ledger's Joker. We all do, and even Christian Bale. I mean. Every film.
Nobody's ever going to go back and look at Dunkirk, even if they love it, and be like, "Man, that character."
Yeah, no one's
So
going.
great.
Harry Styles was my favorite character, and that's
there's
where
the problem right there. You're saying Harry Styles' character. You're not saying, you're saying the Joker, Heath Ledger's portrayal of it.
Yes.
You're not going directly to where the character is, and that's by design, of course. I mean, we even look at most of the cast list. We've got headlining it. We've got French soldier. We've got grenadier. We've got irate soldier. We've got. I mean, we didn't even know Tommy was the name of the protagonist.
If anything, it feels almost like a fly on the wall perspective. We're just watching these different perspectives, different points, and I admire that. I think Nolan's very complex for doing that, and I love what he did with this film. I just felt, from my opinion, I'm guess like the only one that didn't jump on the bandwagon. I felt like I was the only one that walked out there going, I felt like the film was just a bit hollow. And that was, I felt like if you took away Hans Zimmer's score, which was extravagant by all means, Hans Zimmer never ceases to amaze me. But if, in all his films, if you took away that score, sometimes they felt a bit hollow at times. But for me, this one felt very hollow. And how I've described it to people is, it's a beautiful film. It's masterfully done. The way he sets the story is amazing. But just personally for me, I felt like the Dunkirk was like this beautiful egg. Beautiful to watch. Beautifully aesthetically. Points of view, structure. It's like this egg that has this nice mosaic pattern on it. But when you really open it up, I feel like the meat wasn't there. But he purposely did that, and I understand why he did it.
That's the thing. Like I was thinking that the whole time I was watching that, but that was like I felt like that was purposeful.
Yeah,
like you weren't supposed to be like attached.
No, and I understand he did that.
It was supposed to be, it's weird which is why I can't fault him that much for doing that, because I'm like, oh my god, he's such an auteur that this was his plan all along, and I don't know if it was his best plan.
But Gary, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And, and I will give him props for being creative in this film by choosing from my perspective, being successful and doing so on a storyline that has been unexplored previous to this. Yeah. Where it's completely one-sided. We don't see the opposite side. We really never even see the quote-unquote German forces where you just see a German plane.
You never see German soldiers.
Even at the end when we do finally see quote-unquote, they're blurred out. The German forces are not... Yeah. You don't pin a face to them. But when you get credit for that, you are then going to be blamed for why the film, to me, was boring. I get it that it's, much to your egg point, it's great to look at, it's beautiful to look at, and it's beautiful to listen to. Again, a lot of why that tension was artificial to me was because of the score. You don't, if you were to listen to this and you were hearing impaired, to me, I would be bored. I would be like, wow, this millimeter choice, great way to film this. A lot of great camera angles, a lot of great suspension, especially when there's the moment of trying to escape, even within the film of trying to escape a plane. There's a lot of great tense moments, and if you are of the faint of heart, this movie's not for you. Yeah. But it still feels, at the end of the day, much to Nolan's driving point and conclusion there, what is the point of this if we're just going to keep going forward? I feel as a viewer, what was the point of this if there was no theme, and even one of the few characters that we actually cared about as the pilot, I didn't even like his conclusion more so than the heroes where I thought it was going to go was not. It didn't ultimately end up there. I still felt cheated by Nolan's just robbing us of any semblance of a good ending. The only ending I liked was, let me make sure I get his name, Mark Rylance's character arc as Mr. Dawson, the one citizenship we follow. it's almost his ending is negated in the middle.
Yeah.
So therefore, he gives that the proper ending that one would hope in a war.
I felt like that was very on spot, like you said, in the middle. It felt like it was directed towards that since the beginning, since that middle point. Going back to your point on establishing the world and the film itself without minimal dialogue, it relates back to Kubrick's Space Odyssey. That film, when it first came out, was either loved or hated.
People still hate it.
People still hate it and call it boring.
Yeah.
But if you really look at that film now, it's one of the most admired films of our time. 50 years and still it's aged like wine.
You look at sci-fi, any film has that fingerprints on it.
Yeah. But look how people criticize Kubrick because of his style, but in a way, I find him just so compared to Nolan nowadays, and they're both and their generic styles. And I felt like Nolan accomplished that with Interstellar at some points.
It's very layered.
It's
Interstellar.
very layered.
Dark Knight. People teach classes on that film.
Yeah.
Just studying a focal point on that film. It's every single time I see a Nolan film, there's a meaning within a meaning, and it's once you hear it or have it explained to you and you divulge into it, it's blowing. It's a mind-blowing experience.
But Dunkirk's one of those films where it's a real event. It's not in space. So
of course.
It's for the common.
It's
viewer.
real.
It's real. Yeah, it happened. And for the common viewer, the common viewer looks for something to feel for these characters, and this is not a film,
someone to attach to. A reason to care.
A Tom Hanks or so forth. A character
or a Cobb or a Batman.
Or a Cobb or a Batman. Something to feel like remorse for. And this movie's not for the faint of heart with that. If anything, it's putting you in the soldier's shoes. It's strapping you that helmet on your head and giving you the rifle and your boots and saying, "Run." That's what it initially does.
Definitely
and he definitely
a little bit
that.
detached, which this is like obviously Nolan's least themey film. Like all of his, pretty much every film I've ever seen of his is like so heady, and they have these great monologues and these crazy climaxes and conclusions about love and time and loss and being the hero. And this is just like, the war will continue on. That was a really crazy experience. Have a good night, guys. That was it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I feel like that might not have been his strongest choice, but that was purposeful, and I can appreciate that.
What I tell to the common viewer, the viewer that doesn't specifically like maybe study film like us, or doesn't dig into the depth of film like we do. This is a great film. It's beautifully shot. It's well directed. It's
go see it in IMAX.
And go see it in IMAX. Yes, you have to see it in IMAX. But the direction that it's made is not for the common viewer. It's for someone that wants.
It's not. I mean, it was like weird for me. I was like, this. I remember
walking out of it. Yeah. I went and saw it. I want to say like Friday or Saturday, and I walked out with my parents and my buddies. And people around me were just saying like they didn't like it, they didn't understand it, and it's a Nolan film. It's not for the faint of heart. You have to, when you go into a Nolan film, every detail counts. Every detail points to different.
He's being judged to a different level. He's being judged on a Christopher Nolan scale where you have an expectation for a film, and so when he somewhat goes against that, it's counted against him. Whereas if I don't even know, Michael Bay were to do this,
oh god,
I'm just saying,
lens flares and explosions.
It would be a different scale. Everybody would be impressed.
You're right. Yeah. It is because people. I remember hearing people comparing this, the common viewer, obviously, comparing this to Dark Knight, and that's a whole different genre.
Totally
it's a whole different outlook. And the cool thing about Nolan is he never lost his edge, even when he was offered the chance to make the Dark Knight films. And ever since then, he's still not lost his edge.
And this is what he does. He redefines a genre or recreates it in a way that hasn't been done before. The Dark Knight was a trendsetter. I mean,
superhero films are popular now because The Dark Knight made them profitable.
And it demanded an element of realism that the audience craved, that they didn't even know that they wanted, and that now film directors are expected to have.
Even those campy Marvel movies that come out every 2 months, they have that element of realism because of
Christopher Nolan.
Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan took the Dark Knight in a direction that no other director, no other writer could fathom. They didn't want to make it real because superheroes weren't real.
Interstellar completely followed the scientific book of what we know right now, how everything in our galaxy is defined as right by now, to follow the rules perfectly and to create a cinematic movie that the common person could follow, but the scientists could appreciate and meld the two, and yet at the same time create a drawing story that created emotion, that created a character that you wanted to follow, and was just a cinematic beauty on so many different levels to do. And that's, again, why he gets credit from me for doing this film and just finding a niche that is completely nobody has even attempted anything. I can't expound upon that enough. I mean, we've seen things such as
he's a trailblazer. It might not be the best trail, but he is blazing it.
That's true. He is Blund's gazing on the trail.
What he's doing is, I mean, if you look back in the 70s when there's this big film renaissance of new ideas, fresh. They were completely new. And I talked to my buddy about this the other day. It's like people don't go see new movies unless they're superhero, sequel, or reboot. If it's not one of those three, people normally don't go see it unless it's got a huge marketing campaign behind it.
Yeah.
And Dunkirk had a good campaign, but I don't think it was huge. But my point is, people are afraid of something new. And from directors like Nolan, from people like Scorsese with Silence, from even Tarantino with The Hateful Eight, that's kind of iffy.
Maybe Django Unchained.
With Django Unchained, yes. I was back in 2012.
Yeah. Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards. Anything Tarantino.
Every film he's ever done,
Pretty much it has that Tarantino.
But if it's not a superhero reboot or sequel, it's hard for people to want to take the risk people naturally don't like what's something new. They like something they're used to. They'll go see the fifth Transformers film because they know what to expect.
They know what it's going to be.
They know it's going to be. It's going to be the same plot every time. They can pay their $7 and get a good experience. But it's films like Dunkirk. It's films like Logan. It's films like Silence. It's films like La La Land that, to an extent,
I raised my head about that one, but yes, continue.
To an extent, but it's films that take a leap of faith that generally don't get as much the common
recognition.
Audience, the recognition they need, and that's sad. But
except Nolan,
I had a buddy ask me what movie should I go see this week, and he was up for anything, I say go see Dunkirk over Valerian or Transformers any day.
Yeah.
Oh heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've heard. It's interesting. I mean, Nolan has done that, but he has a flair for blockbusters. Obviously, his movies have made so much money. So I think he
makes them original and complex.
Exactly. Like he has shown that you don't have to skimp on quality and heavy themes.
And I'll be the first to admit,
make a great blockbuster with action that everybody will love and pay money to see.
And I'll be the first to admit that the lone reason why I went to go see this film was because of Christopher Nolan.
Oh yeah.
That was the lone reason why I would ever even ventured forth.
I would agree. If I saw this film come out with a director I'd never heard of, maybe his first or second debut of a film, I probably would have been iffy about it, but not fully committed.
But that's the command he respect he commands.
For ever since the Batman series, I've made a point to see every Nolan film. You know, everything he releases, you got to see.
Now I have a question for you both, and it's one of the most notable things a lot of directors are known for, such as Steven Spielberg pairing with Tom Hanks, and you can go down the list. Christopher Nolan somewhat has a reservoir of actors that he likes to use, and he picks from and inserts them into his films. How do you both feel about that? When we see Tom Hardy in his, what is this, third Christopher Nolan film?
What, Dark Knight
Cillian Murphy's in a couple, too, as well.
Cillian Murphy's been in a bunch. He's been there since Batman Begins.
I think even Kenneth Branagh has been in a few.
Yeah.
And now this is my, again, I'm just going off with the top of my head, but Mark Rylance, excellent selection. Yeah. But I'm just saying, how do you both feel on him going through the same cache of actors?
Here's my thought on it. If you know how to utilize an actor and know their strengths, weaknesses, and what they can play and what they can't play, I say use them.
Yeah.
If you know, like, for instance, if Tarantino and Uma Thurman, and Tarantino and Samuel L. Jackson, I mean, what film is Samuel L. Jackson not in, even if he's a cameo?
Not in Dunkirk.
Not in Dunkirk. Yeah, not in Dunkirk.
But he's coming out in The Bodyguard.
But if you know an actor's strengths and you know they have the ability to play the character you were seeking, and you have a good relationship, and you were able to clearly illustrate your vision for them, I say go for it. But they need to be able to establish a different character than what we've already seen before. We've seen the face, but we don't know the character.
I think that seeing movies from so a lot of today's most like respected and watched directors like Nolan and Tarantino, I would throw Wes Anderson in there because
Steven Spielberg,
you know,
top of the list.
Anderson's got Bill Murray in the gang in every film. Like it's seeing
Adam Sandler has his crew.
Yes,
You guys
I'm not putting it on the same quality.
You
but
guys
I'm
are freaking
saying-
Robert Rodriguez and Machete.
Danny
Trejo.
Trejo. Yeah.
Who couldn't think about Danny Trejo?
But I mean, like going to see those directors' films, like seeing a Nolan film, I see it because it's a Nolan film, but it's a Nolan film because it has Hans Zimmer, Tom Hardy, and all these actors. I know that that's going to be a part of it. That's like most of these actors' best roles have come from being in those directors' films that they have the best relationships with.
And you know
So,
what? To answer my own question, I feel that if you can find a perfect marriage, I don't discredit you for that.
Don't divorce it, man.
Yeah, if Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio make magic every time they go to pair on a film together. Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg are just knocking it out of the park every time. Why are you discrediting yourself and going to the public's wills and demands if you're still doing great work? It's something different if I almost feel like I'm bashing on him, but they bash on themselves. Adam Sandler and his crew, when they're just coming together for...
Hey, there's a
rounding up the-
demographic that loves those movies. They make a stupid amount of money, so it works in its own weird way.
My point is if you're getting together and you're just in it for the paycheck, okay, that's fine. That's a different conversation. But if you're coming together and you're melding your talents...
You're making great art
with,
every time.
Tom Hardy, Cillian Murphy, Mark Rylance, who just won the Academy Award...
Last year for Best Supporting Actor. Yeah.
Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah.
Bridge of Spies. I can't fault you for wanting to go. It's very NBA-esque, right? You're wanting to work and be with better people to help boost what you can do and bring your talents to a full luster and shine.
Yep.
I can't mark that against the director, and I can't mark that against you if you're both coming together to make something worthwhile and memorable. Now, Matthew McConaughey, say what you will, that was a career rebirth for me. Even though he did not win the Oscar for that one, it showed to me that Matthew McConaughey could be taken seriously and was not a Sahara
Dallas
action.
Buyers Club, though.
I know, I understand that. I'm just saying, if you're Christopher Nolan and you can take flyers on Matthew McConaughey, Harry frickin' Styles, and just different people, and realize that you can boost their talents and have your will be put onto them and make them shine as in a role that we, as the public, Heath Ledger, that was a huge going out of the box idea.
And if you can go back and search like 2005 articles about Heath Ledger, and there's like critics writing like, this is the dumbest casting choice I've ever seen, and everyone's like, this is the movie's gonna be a tank, and then he's like one of the most revered, he's like the Kurt Cobain of actors now.
But that's interesting because it just goes to show that people like Ledger and now Harry Styles. I don't think I've seen that guy act in any big budget films I've seen.
He held his own.
There's some pretty big budget music videos.
But
made me cry.
I mean, those guys, those songs just hit like right in the heart. But
when he's flying like Mary Poppins through the sky.
Oh, Mary Poppins, yo.
Mary Poppins, y'all.
They're making a sequel of that, by the way.
Of what?
I've heard.
Emily
Mary
Blunt.
Poppins.
Emily
Did you
Blunt.
say Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, of course they're making that's
I was
Emily
like,
Blunt.
Phil, we knew that.
Emily Blunt. But my point is, it goes to show how great a director Nolan is, that he can lead this kid that has never acted in a real film.
Nobody questioned it.
Nobody questioned it.
Everybody made note of it, but nobody was like, what is he doing? No. Nobody
Harry
did.
Styles, in my opinion, in the film,
Nolan cast Harry Styles?
did
Cool.
the job that he needed to do.
Yeah.
I wasn't astounded. Obviously, his
But you weren't really astounded by any of the
Nobody
actors.
outside
but
of
the movie, like we said,
Yeah,
wasn't
it's
character
about-
driven,
yeah.
so there wasn't a lot to really push Harry Styles' character. He's just kind of in it, and he's there to be a soldier surviving as well. And but even that, not having to say much except for that iconic boat scene when they're inside the boat.
Yeah.
That's where you really see his breakout acting role that no one pushes him to be.
Yeah.
And I don't think the kids ever act, so it's cool to see that he did a pretty good job for his first time, and that's just going to show how great a director Nolan can be when he utilizes an actor's talents and knows their weaknesses and ability.
With all that being said, I will hold it against him if he casts Harry Styles in a movie again. If he's inserted into the cache of assortment of Nolan's posse, I will hold that against him. But good one-time use of him for a one-outer. So that's been Dunkirk, and actually, before we go on this one, let's go to the Boucher bar system. Of how many Boucher bars does Dunkirk get?
Out of 100,
Out of 100
of the beeps, I would throw 82.
Oh, wow.
82 out of 100. It doesn't break into like I said. It's not the most memorable Nolan film. It's the least heady Nolan film, but it's an experience. I liked it. It was unique, and I'm happy. I don't think I would watch it again at home. I think it is most watched best in the theater, unlike some of these other movies where I say watch it at home, don't bother. If you're going to see this, go see it now. Pay the extra $3, see it in IMAX in the big screen, because that is what it's all about.
That's correct. Hunter, your personal Boucher bar system would be?
I could agree with Gary on that one. I would say probably about 82, 83 as well. I'm right there with you. It's a film that you have to see in the theaters. It's best displayed on that IMAX screen. That's what the film was intended to be displayed on. So, would you rather pay the $22 and own it, or pay $7 and see in the best visual quality you can?
Yeah.
So, I think it was a great film. Not my favorite.
It's not up there with
film.
Batman.
It's not up there.
Yeah,
it's definitely not up there for me. But it's definitely memorable, and I think that when we look back 20 years from now, film students, viewers are going to say, we'll be forgiving, and we'll say that movie was unique.
If that's his bust of his repertoire, that's a great movie.
That's like the worst Nolan movie. That's a really great worst movie.
We've all seen directors that have those films that people hate when they didn't primarily like when they came out, and now they're regarded as some of the best films in cinema and are taught in film school.
That was Hitchcock way back in the day.
Exactly. People didn't like Psycho, and now look at it. So we might be looking back 20 years from now, and people might be saying Dunkirk was awesome. We need to learn about this, and we could have been like, "Yep, we saw it and we thought it was good, but we didn't see the hype yet."
You guys kicked the ratings ball up a bit for me with your description, but I'm gonna have to stick with around 76.
76?
Yeah,
that's reasonable though. We understand that.
For the limitations of, for one, you have to see it in theaters in order to get the best experience of it.
Yeah.
Boring storyline to me, as far as I didn't hold any attachment to anybody, so I didn't necessarily care where I was at any given point in time. And the fact that it was a deflating ending. I just, all in all, it sucks you in, but at the same point, I'm left with what was the point of it effect at the end of the film. Just for those reasons, I will say it's visually beautiful. Just Hans Zimmer just made that film.
He's like Harry Potter and Voldemort. One cannot live without the other, or whatever they say.
I'm going to take that side of that argument. But Hans Zimmer, just all props lead to him. So I will go with a solid 76. Nice try. Creative, but 76 is where I stand. Well, thank you so much, Hunter, for coming along and helping us navigate the beaches of that fantastic movie.
Thank you for joining me. I talked amongst my comrades and survived the podcast. So
yes, we escaped that film bravely. All right, on the other side of this commercial break, we will go to our award-winning Give Me 5 Sponsor? Yes.
Maybe.
Yes.
By Floyd Mayweather.
By Floyd Money Mayweather. Right after this. Red Ribbon Realty Group at HomeSmart is a full-service real estate team of Phoenix natives with over 15 years of experience in the industry. When you work with them, you have 2 full-time realtors representing your best interests throughout your entire transaction, whether you are selling, buying, or renting. They also believe in supporting their community. Use code word chopped greens and Red Ribbon Realty Group will donate 15% of their net commission from your transaction to the nonprofit charity of your choice. Visit their website at www.redribbongroup.com and find them on Facebook. You can also email them at info@redribbongroup.com or call them at 602-888-6638. Red Ribbon Realty Group. Trust. Commitment. Home. I almost just want to not say anything for the first 5 seconds of this intro, but dead air is dead air. If you are dead air, you are dead. So I'm going to struggle with editing this one. But this is Give Me 5. Hunter has decided to rejoin us on this section, so welcome to Give Me 5, Hunter. This is the part of the show where
Larry comes out and sings a silly song.
The Water Buffalo song. Anyways, no, I'm sorry. This is the part of the show where I've got 5 questions for you, Gary. You got 5 questions for me. We don't know what they are, but we will answer them honestly.
Yes, sir.
Hunter, who would you like to hear go first?
I love to hear Gary's.
Excellent.
Woo!
Go ahead,
My first
Gary.
question is called, or it's my first game. Do you know what you're talking about?
Hey, there we
Christopher
go.
Nolan trivia. I have 3 sets of Nolan facts. Let's see, 2 of them are true. 1 of them is false. And you guys have to sniff out the false one. Do you know what you're talking about?
Here we go.
You ready
Hunter,
for
let's
this? So number 1, true or false? 3 facts. Nolan is the only director to have ever had 2 films gross more than $1 billion at the box office, which were The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
Nolan is the youngest director ever to have a handprint on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Number 3, 7 of Nolan's films are included on IMDb's top 250 films of all time list. He's made 9 films ever. 7 of them are considered some of the best 250 ever. Which one of those?
Which one of those is fake? And the second one was is that he is the youngest director to have a Hollywood Walk. I don't believe I've ever even seen him in a public setting to where I would recognize that he has a Hollywood Walk of Fame handprint. So I'm going to go with that one. Number 2 is the false one.
Right.
Hunter, which one are you sniffing?
Feeling the same.
Second
All right.
one?
Same.
Y'all are both wrong. The first one is false because James Cameron has also had 2 films gross $1 billion at the box
Titanic and
office.
Avatar.
And Avatar, yes.
Well,
yes.
apparently no one's been out in the public.
Yeah, he once ever. He went
Once ever, he put his hand
and then
down
he
left.
put his trench coat on and went back into
Went
the
back
shack.
into the shack. All right.
Number 2, Nolan's younger brother Jonathan was originally slated to direct Memento.
Okay.
Number 2, Nolan oversaw every single shot in Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, as he chose to have no second unit film any of the movie. He oversaw every single take.
Okay.
Number 3, Steven Spielberg was originally supposed to direct Interstellar way back in 2006.
Ooh, that's a tough one. So, do I believe that Gary got that interpretive and just kept on writing a fact to make it sound good? I do. So I'm going to say number 2. I'm
You
going to
gonna say
say
number
number
2
2 is the fake one. Yes, one of these 2s has got to be the poop one.
Okay. What
All right,
you got?
Hunter, which
What
one?
you got?
You want to
I
go
want to
with?
say 3.
We'll say 3 is the false one?
Yeah.
Y'all are both wrong again. Number 1 was false.
Whoa.
Jonathan has never been slated to direct a Nolan film. He has produced them all. But Nolan did oversee every single shot on the first 2 Batman films, and Steven Spielberg was supposed to direct Interstellar in 2006. Wow. It wasn't a script, it was a concept, and they hired him on, and then he left.
And then he
Probably to do Indiana
Bill
Jones, The
Belichick's
Dark
in the New
Side,
York
that we
Jets.
talked about.
Fair enough.
Number 3, final one. Christopher Nolan doesn't use a cell phone. He has never owned one, and he prohibits their use on set.
Okay.
In a number 2, in a 2015 New York Times interview, Christian Bale revealed that he felt bullied and harassed on the set of Dark Knight Rises, and so that he had no interest in working with Christopher Nolan again. Number 3, Nolan's first ever feature film was filmed over the course of 2 years only on Saturdays because the entire cast and crew worked full-time jobs. This was in 1998.
Ooh, this is a good one.
This is a really good one.
See-
I feel like 2 could be. I feel like 2 is real because what was 2 again?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale said he didn't
I feel
want
like
to
that was really a problem. It would have been more outspoken through like the Hollywood News or TMZ or something stupid like that. I feel like it would be more outspoken about.
Do you think that one's the false one?
I'm feeling that's number 2, man.
Okay.
3. What was 3 again? It was
His first feature film was filmed over 2 years on
I feel like that's
Saturdays.
true. I feel like just with
It's a
Nolan.
great story. Yeah.
I feel like that's true.
What you got?
So you're saying number 1, the cell phone rule, because he's a very traditional guy. We know
Very
that.
traditional. I feel like that might be it because just like Tarantino, I feel like he's very old school and feels a need that why they're on set, no cell phone. But then again, I don't know, like who doesn't have a cell phone nowadays? So that's kind of hard to think.
So which one do you think's the false one, Hunter?
Out of the 2, I feel like 2 is more likely to be false.
I have to agree. I think him and Christian Bale have a wonderful relationship.
You guys locking it in?
Locking.
Good job. You got that one right.
Yeah!
That would be ridiculous if that happened, and that would have been all over TMZ. He has never owned a cell phone, and he hates them, and he says, when I moved to LA in 1998, everyone had them, I thought it was dumb, and no one's allowed to have it on set. And he also, his first film ever, filmed over 2 years on Saturdays.
All right.
Cool.
All right.
See to you, sir.
All right. Hunter, what year were you born?
96.
Oh, that's
there you go.
fantastic. Right there along with Gary. All right, Gary, I was perusing through some articles and I stumbled upon a slideshow that showed important businesses and the year they officially opened their doors. And of course, I stumbled upon the years of our different birthdays, so I will give you 5 businesses in alphabetical order, and I want you to tell me which one opened up in 1996, both of your birth years, but more importantly, which one opened up in 1993, my birth year. All right.
You're giving me 5?
I'm giving you 5.
Give me 5.
Yes.
Let's go.
I want you to tell me which one was not only which 2 were born were opened in our birth years, but which one for who.
Okay.
All right. First one, Amazon. Next one, Chipotle, eBay, Google, Travelocity. One more time. Amazon, Chipotle, eBay, Google, and Travelocity.
Travelocity, that's just a crapshoot. Why would you throw that one in there? Let's see here.
Yes.
What do you think? I'm gonna say, okay, here.
So which one was in 96?
Yeah.
Let's go with that one first.
96, Amazon and Travelocity. And then...
Oh, no. Each one is in a separate year. So it's only going to be one for each year.
Oh, so it's not multiple.
No. It's just one per. So one might have been in 1976. One might have been...
Stakes have been raised. I'm going to say Amazon in 96.
93, the more important year?
Google.
So you're going Amazon 1996, Google for 1993.
Yes, lock it in.
Hunter.
I feel like Google in 1996, that's when the internet really became more popular. I'm going to guess that.
Probably should have done.
I feel like Amazon blew up in the last 10 years, so I want to say, I'm probably wrong, I know I am, but Travelocity.
There's honesty.
Travelocity, probably 1993. I'm gonna throw that out there too.
Okay, so you both have Amazon in 96?
No, he's got...
I got Google.
You got Google in 96.
Travelocity.
All right, I'll just go down the list here. Amazon was in 94.
Wow.
I know. Who knew? Next, eBay opened in 1995.
Okay.
We're getting warmer.
I know.
96.
Google was in 98.
Ooh.
Yeah, so a little bit later. So now we're down to Chipotle and Travelocity. And Chipotle opened up in 93.
Whoa.
Who would have guessed that?
Whoa.
And Travelocity was 1996.
Wow.
Wow, I'm dying.
Wow, man.
He's choking over the realization. He's choking over the realization that Travelocity was the weird one that I threw in there. I was forced to. I thought it was weird too, but
Travelocity.
I was. You and Travelocity are linked forever. Your turn, sir.
All right. I actually have an Amazon-related question. I segue here. So for about 5 minutes today, Jeff Bezos knocked Bill Gates off of the pedestal of richest person in the world.
I saw this.
His net worth spiked to $90.6 billion. Bill Gates is $90.1 because Amazon's share went up like $300. And then it went down in 5 minutes. But for a brief moment, Jeff Bezos was in the spotlight. Not like he's already rich enough already. That being said, when Amazon started, it was very unconventional and no one believed in it. So my question to you is, what is an unconventional business, investment, or invention that you think could be extremely profitable?
Okay. Let me think about this. Okay, so what is the one time in everybody's life, theoretically everybody's life, hopefully everybody's life, that everybody does not care about cost?
When they
Weddings.
retire? Or weddings. There you go.
With that in mind, and incorporating the new technology, I would like to create a 360 camera wedding reception where you get that video and you can just rotate, you can get personalized cameras to people's reaction, and somehow create a theatrical, recording of just, hopefully nobody's sleeping.
That would probably be a thing in like 10 years.
Funny enough, I just went to a wedding about a month ago where they had 5 different cameramen, different angles.
Really?
I kid you not. I kid
Get a professionally intercut.
Hopefully,
wedding.
Hopefully Granny Epstein over there is not falling asleep and drooling because she will be caught. But other than that, the 360 element to me is really interesting because then you can...
VR, 360.
Yeah.
Imagine, VR wedding. You could do the 360 and then put it in a VR headset and walk around. There you go.
Oh, yes.
We're doing it.
There you go.
You're never going to miss anyone's wedding again.
And you can play the role of the groom or the bride, and you can see what it was like in her eyes.
Wow.
And if it's a divorce, you can see whether or not he really meant it at the time. The cheating bastard. All right, your turn, Gary.
It was just my turn.
Oh, it was just your turn. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Speaking of rich folk, Mark Zuckerberg's net worth has yet to find a ceiling as Facebook continues to dominate the social media landscape. Investors are scrambling to buy company stock. On Wednesday afternoon, the company unveiled its latest piece of positive news, a stellar second quarter earnings report which showed huge gains in revenue and profitability. That announcement, released after normal trading hours, sent Facebook shares up 5% by the opening of markets on Thursday morning. Those gains were a tremendous boom to Zuckerberg's personal fortune, and his net worth rose $3.8 billion through 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, sending him past Mexico's Carlos Slim Hilu to become the planet's 5th richest person. So a little less than Bill Gates and Bezos. He is now worth an estimated $72.7 billion with a B, a record high according to Forbes' real-time rankings of the world's billionaires. I want to ask you, Gary, is there a point of too much wealth, and at what point does Mark Zuckerberg outprice himself of some semblance of a normal life?
You know, so it's funny because Mark Zuckerberg has tried to keep up that facade of a normal life, which he's obviously never going to be a normal guy. He did become part of that group with Bill Gates who pledged to donate like 99.9% of their wealth after they die to people in need and causes that they feel are good. This is going to get a little ideological. There is a point to me where I'm like, do you need that money? Should it be forcibly taken to you and given to other people? Yes. That's not going to happen for hundreds of years, but you don't need that. That is more than the GDP of like a lot of the world's countries. So once you get to the point where you are secure for life times a million, you are too rich, and that's not faulting you because you've obviously done something great. But Mark Zuckerberg's got a good head on his shoulders, but some people don't. Some people will keep it. There is a point where that should be spread to the commoners.
You said in the question too as well that is there a point where it should be extended where he can only make so much money? I think $3 billion is quite enough because that's like 3 times the amount that one person is not.
And that's billion with a
billion, not even million.
That's not with an M. That's with a B. That's 3 times the amount that normal people do not make in their lifetimes. People, if they save from the minute they start.
I'm sure you could find generations of family trees that have not amounted to $3 billion net worth garner it all together.
They estimate that if you start saving when you first get a job for retirement, you will hit 1 million, not 1 billion.
Yes. Gary, your turn, sir.
You concede to moi. All right, so this
I never concede. I always win. Give me 5. It's a habit.
Well, this is actually not a competition question. This is just a question, so I can't really say anything to you because this is a sad question.
Okay, fantastic.
I don't know if you saw.
Not fantastic.
Maybe on the news or on Facebook, there was a ride today in the Ohio State Fair. One of those swingy rides where you sit in a circle and it spins and it swings you.
Yeah, I saw
that. It malfunctioned. It hit the ground. People went flying. One of them died on
One
impact.
confirmed death.
Yeah, 7 of them are in critical condition. Apparently, I just found out the ride passed 3 inspections yesterday. Everyone said it was fine. It fully passed all the safety inspections, and it still killed someone today. My question to you, number 1, are you like a thrill, roller coaster ride guy? And after hearing about this, will you ever get on one of those again? Because I will not. I am really sketched out. I watched the 2-second video, and it was honestly terrible. So.
Yeah. To answer your first question, I am.
You are?
I am a thrill seeker. When we go to family vacations, I'm the one who gets to take my sister on thrill rides and use her to, where's your mom? Let's get to, and then we get to the front of the line and then we, ride again,
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have a child, from Titanic. I just bring my poor wailing sister.
A child!
I have a child! She has no mother. No, but anyways, love you, Mom. But the point is, I love roller coasters. But will I use it again? It's the unspoken waiver that you sign anytime you do this, and that's. Nobody.
They passed 3 safety inspections, though, man.
That's great.
They had a professional come through and be like, "Yeah, this is fine."
That's very different too than bringing your children to the Disney beach and then your kid gets
This is a state fair where they tear down the rides and they.
So that's where I'm saying you have to know going into it that there's always that 0.01 chance that no matter how safe it is, it's built on the notion that you are made to feel unsafe for a reason. And I'm just gonna if you're gonna, what is the point of living life? Finding Nemo taught us nothing. What is the point of living life where you will always be safe? You gotta live with some adventure. So I say yes, bring me the Goliath at Knott's Berry Farm.
Gary, I second your effect. I've always hated roller coasters. I've always hated roller coasters.
I hate roller coasters, but I hate those now.
I'm a minimal thrill seeker. I like the stuff that gives me a little bit of adrenaline, then I'm done. I'm not a big roller coaster guy. I've made that very clear to my friends and family. I am afraid of roller coasters. I'm a almost 21-year-old man. I don't like roller coasters. They scare the crap out of me. All right, they do. And
now
Brianna,
you'll never get on anything ever again.
Brianna, if you're listening, this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly why I won't go on roller coasters.
Girlfriend called out.
Real men are scared of cockroaches. Anyways,
I'm completely fine with cockroaches. I can squish it, I'll be fine.
Gary, Hunter, today is Alex Rodriguez's birthday. He is turning 42. And when TMZ reporters caught up to him, he had a very interesting quote. He said, quote, "I may have retired from baseball, but I will never be tired of Uber facts."
Oh my god.
Oh, I did the bait and switch on him. He didn't even see it coming. Oh, I'm so excited. That was the best prompt I've ever done. I'm patting myself on the back.
God.
He was
I'm
not
not even on the show and I just saw that surprise coming. Wow. The look in Gary's face.
Now, Hunter.
You're gonna need more beers, Gary.
Just kill the Horcrux.
Yes,
Another beer, wait up!
Hunter, of course, I will be able to share this with you now, as well as any of the listeners who have not heard before. But Uber Facts is the part of the show where I have 5 sets of 3 facts for you, Gary, and I have 1 fake fact, and you need to sniff out which one is the fake fact.
This is like incredibly hard. It's probably the stupidest game anybody's ever invented, and
Gary
do it every week.
is a legend for being the worst player ever.
I'm terrible at
I'm
it.
gonna top you on that.
He is the tin can that everybody else kicks around on this game. All right, here we go. Uber facts. Let's go. Fact set number 1. Fact number 1, Cameron Diaz hasn't used deodorant in almost 20 years.
That could be true.
Fact number
This is exactly why you're losing.
Fact number 2, surveys have found that the average meeting is 38 minutes long.
The average meeting?
Fact number 3, if the Kool-Aid Man were real, he would weigh about 11,000 pounds, about as much as an elephant. Gary, which one's the fake fact there?
The Kool-Aid Man. How do they measure that? Locking it in.
Locking it in. Hunter, which is the fake fact?
I'm gonna have. Well, Cameron Diaz. She's a celebrity. She's out in public all the time to people. There's no way she's not wearing deodorant. For 20 years. That's gonna be some serious BO. I just gotta say that. At least on her clothes, because she can take a shower and you'll be fine. But that BO has just gotta resonate in her closet. I don't care how many T-shirts. Then again, she is rich. So she can buy all the clothes in the world she wants. I'm gonna have to lock in and say the Kool-Aid Man. How do you measure that? How do you?
Okay.
I mean, I never saw a Kool-Aid commercial where they say, "Oh, Kool-Aid Man, oh yeah, I have 20 gallons of Kool-Aid."
There you go. Well,
See? Sniffed it out, right?
I am happy to report that you both are wrong.
What?
I completely made up the surveys that found the 38 minutes long fact. I was in a meeting today and I was trying to pass time by creating new and exciting Uber facts.
Oh my god.
You're both on the board of the wrong side. Alright, next one. A black widow has over 300 teeth in its mouth. Fact number 2, in the US, rabies is a lot more common in cats than it is in dogs. And fact number 3, 98% of 98% of American women are larger than fashion models. Again, black widows have over 300 teeth. In the US, rabies are more common in cats than dogs. And fact number 3, 98% of American women are larger than fashion models. Gary.
Number 1. Because I killed one last week in my pool. It was probably the most terrifying. It was like a Dunkirk.
It was like Jaws, just...
Yes.
Or I guess not, if you're saying it's false. There you
It
go.
was a harrowing experience, and that is a false fact.
Okay.
Well, I thought your mom could tell us. I mean, she was an A-lady freak. I mean, she's seen.
That is true.
That is true. Your mom was an A-lady.
We should get her in here. We need to have the mom cast.
Yeah, call a friend.
Shelly.
Do the viewers know that your mom's an A-lady freak?
Now they do.
Now they do. My
do.
mom is in the movie Eight-Legged Freaks. So
if anybody's gonna know how many teeth a spider has, it is his mom.
There we go.
And
Okay, so Hunter, which one are you saying is the fake fact?
It's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm going to have to say possibly I might be the worst player. You might be the second worst. I might be the worst.
You think you're worse than me?
I want to say option number 3.
Option number 3, 98% of American women. You were both right to stay away from, in the U.S., rabies are more common in cats. However, A black widow does not have over 300 teeth in its mouth. Gary is on the board.
It has 2 fangs and they're deadly and terrifying.
All right, Hunter, you're losing.
I told you from the get-go.
Here we go. That's all I need to say. All right. Fact number 1: numbing spicy chicken is what people in China call Nicki Minaj. Fact number 2:
Wait, hold on. Say that again.
numbing spicy chicken is what people in China call Nicki Minaj.
I've never heard this.
So they see a
This is
picture.
actually really
They see a
confusing.
picture of Nicki Minaj and say, "Oh, numbing spicy chicken."
Oh my god.
All right. Fact number 2: people with front gapped teeth are less likely to eat McDonald's than all other fast food restaurants. Fact number 3: in Taiwan, people refer to Leonardo DiCaprio as Pikachu after a news anchor couldn't pronounce his name.
Terrible news anchor.
Cheek. I need another cheek. Like, I
I
do get Pikachu out of that. So I'm gonna assume that that's probably not correct.
What was
So
the
you're
second
locking
one?
in number 3?
I'm going to continue thinking.
Okay. Which one? Number 2?
Yeah, which one was that
People with front gapped teeth are less likely to eat at McDonald's than all other fast food
one? I'm
restaurants.
gonna go with that one.
You're saying that's the false one.
The 2 Asian facts are true. That's the false one.
Okay. He's locking it in. Hunter, which one are you saying is the incorrect fact?
He said number 3.
No. He said he needed a second to ponder.
I'm pondering.
He's musing.
Ponder.
Again, you might best me at this, but I'm gonna have to go number 3. I feel like I would have heard about this in the news somehow, some way.
And Hunter, we may have found that you are the worst player now at Uber Facts. Gary, you got to invite Hunter every time.
Yes.
You correctly snipped it out.
Show that Gary has had 2 alcohol beverages and I've had none.
Maybe it's liquid intelligence.
Wait, so I
Yes,
snipped it out.
yes, you did. Yes, and numbing spicy
You
chicken.
need to drink more alcohol as you do this podcast.
Numbing spicy chicken. Who would have thought? All right.
Who would have flung?
Who would have thought it? All right. Number 4. Mothers of twins have longer, healthier lives, according to a study. Fact number 2. Optophobia is the fear of opening one's eyes. And fact number 3. Leg hair grows 6 times faster than the hair growing on toes. Scary.
Hold on, I'm inspecting my hobbit feet.
Okay. And let me tell you,
Number 2 is false.
number 2 is false.
Yes.
The
First thing,
optophobia.
Alcohol.
Okay. Yes, he's going with his feeling.
Alcohol.
Yes.
So, number 2 is the eye, optophobia. Number 3 is
Leg hair.
leg hair grows 6 times faster than toe hair.
Yes. And then mothers of twins have longer, healthier lives would be fact number 1.
I'm going to have to go with number 2 as well, Gary.
Number 2.
Number 2.
All right, Hunter, you jumped on the wrong gravy train as I completely made up the leg hair in full Luke Wright fashion. You should have sniffed that one. All right.
That one airs.
So you're now back to 2-2 there, Gary, after an exciting run.
So,
and last one.
I can get 3 down.
Hunter, you haven't even gotten on the board here. We need to get you on the board. All right.
told you.
Last one. Here we go. Daffy Duck has 6,042 feathers on his body. Fact number 2, people who use emojis while texting tend to have more sex than those who don't. And fact number 3,
Smiley face, smiley face, winky face.
fact number 3, octopi are given puzzles when held in captivity because they're so smart and they get bored easily.
What was the first one?
First one, Daffy Duck has 6,042 feathers on his body.
I'm gonna go with the emoji one.
The emoji.
That is the false one.
Okay.
Again, how would you know that?
Because I use a lot of emojis.
No, I'm talking about.
A different fact, but I see where you're going there, Gary.
I don't ever go on and get emojis from you ever again. Then.
Yes, no more thumbs up.
No thumbs up, no winky faces, no nothing.
Oh, get rid of those winky faces. Hunter.
No way.
I was
Which
trying
one?
to get at you, man.
I'm going to. Man. Again, how would you count the feathers on an imaginary duck? I pondered.
They're all hand drawn though, so whoever hand drew Daffy Duck
See
might
the little
know.
feathers, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. He's kind of outlined. And
I feel like number 2 as well. How would you know that?
People who use emojis, you're sticking on that train.
I'm sticking that in.
You're locking it in.
Locking it in.
Both of your gooses are cooked because I completely made up the Daffy Duck one.
I was.
you thought in your mind.
I'm never following your lead ever again.
Welcome to the game, Hunter. And this
So
has been another
once again,
riveting edition of Uber
I
Facts.
am 2 for 5 in the worst
And I'm
game.
0 for 5.
And you had an exciting run there.
I did 2 in a row. I don't think I've ever got 2 in a row. Holy crap.
No.
And then I just get scared.
And you just dumped it all.
I lost all of them.
Yes, you did. That's a feat unto itself. Grace done that only once.
Hunter and I actually came together before this, and he agreed to lose it for me, so I would look better.
Yes, I gave him.
So you are the first person to lose to Gary.
I gave him beer and said, "You look good." There we go.
He makes me feel good.
Gary,
Are you ready for this? I have a list of the top 10 highest grossing war movies of all time in festivities. Since we just saw a war movie, I'm gonna list them out of order. You need to get the top 5.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Let's do this.
You ready?
I'm ready.
So I'm just gonna give you the 10 out of order.
Okay.
Lincoln.
Ooh.
Schindler's List.
Okay.
Pearl Harbor.
All right.
American Sniper.
Okay.
Saving Private Ryan.
Oh man, these are some good stuff.
Rambo First Blood Part 2.
Okay.
Alright.
Inglorious Bastards.
Dunzo.
Gone with the Wind.
All right.
300.
Uh-huh.
Captain America, The First Avenger.
Okay, that does make a difference.
Can you guess, in no particular order,
All right, let's put our heads together for this one,
the
Hunter.
top 5 highest grossing war movies of all time?
In my mind, it would have to be newer films because Schindler's List to me is an older film that would not have, even at its height, would not top, let's say, Captain America: The First Avenger.
Here's another variable. Is that over time or is that exact? That's
Yeah,
what
is
you
inflation?
It is accounting for inflation.
Oh, then maybe I'm wrong.
Wait.
If it's over time, the variable changes.
I am so sorry. It is domestic gross.
Okay, that changes.
I gotta change it.
Not accounting for inflation, but you would be surprised at that.
Okay, so then we're definitely gonna guess American Sniper.
American Sniper?
Yes.
Boom, there's one. You got it.
Which one is it?
It's number 1.
Number 1. All right.
547 million.
Yeah, and next one's got to be Pearl Harbor, right, Hunter?
Because that was a big Michael Bay film. Yeah, that was
Pearl Harbor.
definitely for sure one of the bigger films of that year, and it was a love story. That's what really brought
It is in the top 5, so you're in. It's actually number 4.
Okay.
all time.
So we got 2 out.
You've got 1 and 4.
X's.
You got American Sniper, you got Pearl Harbor at 4.
Saving Private Ryan? Was that?
I feel like Spielberg and his reputation.
Yeah, Saving Private Ryan. We'll take
It was
that.
up for Oscars, so people definitely normally around that time when a movie's up ready for an Oscar, people go see it just to see it. So I feel like
was
it's up
established.
there.
Let's go Saving Private Ryan.
Number 2, there you go.
There we go.
All
There we
right.
So you
go.
just got 3 and 5 left. You haven't struck out.
All right, let's see. Lincoln, there's no way, right? There's no way anybody saw Lincoln.
No.
300. I'm kind of wavering on that one. 300.
I feel like that was a really big film, though. I feel like it really was a for the diehard, testosterone-filled, action-filled. I feel like it could be also. I don't want to guess it yet. Don't want to guess it.
All right, let's stick with Captain
It's Captain
America.
America. It's Captain America
is in
because
there.
it's a Marvel superhero movie. People go on to go see superhero movies.
Number 6,
Oh.
Captain America.
Whoa!
You have 1 strike.
Wrong.
You got 2 more strikes.
Okay, so at the time then, Gone with the Wind? That's really old,
It's
though.
more of a reputation thing. It grew over time.
So then it's got to be
I think it was a really expensive movie to make.
It was.
Inglorious Bastards. That's one of the it's one of the newer ones.
I want to put my trust in it, but I don't know.
Okay, we'll go with 300.
300? You guys banking on that?
Yeah.
300.
Boom, 300 is number 3 all time.
Okay.
So we
we've
have
got
for number
1, 2,
1, American
3,
Sniper,
4.
Saving Private Ryan, 300. 4 is
Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor. So
So
now
you
we
just
got
need
one
number
left.
5.
Which will be the hardest. It'll be right
Yeah.
up there. We know Lincoln's not in there. There's no
No
way.
way, wait a minute. What was
So,
the option we have left?
What you guys have left is Rambo First Blood, Lincoln, Inglorious Bastards, Schindler's List.
And 300.
I feel like.
No. We already guessed
And
it.
Captain America, you guys found out was number 1.
So I feel like it's either between Rambo because of Stallone and the reputation of the first film, and Inglorious because it's Tarantino, and I feel like his following is always.
Let's go Inglorious since it's the most recent. Inglorious Bastards.
Second strike. Inglorious Bastards number 8 all time.
So you willing to die on
Wow.
Rainbow's Hill?
You got 1 more strike, 1 more
I'm ready to
guess.
die with Stallone. Let's get this guns blazing shirt off.
Blondes gazing, Rambo.
Your
Rambo.
blondes are out of gamma. Because Rambo's number 9. Number 5, Gone with the Wind.
Whoa!
When in like 1938, it made like $400 million. Not accounting for inflation. It just made a ton of money.
Wow.
I thought it was
People want to see it.
I knew it was big. I just didn't think.
Me too. I didn't think at that time it would have made that much. I mean,
and now adjusted for inflation, it's like it's billions.
Forget it. All right.
Wow.
Gary, June Foray, the voice of the Rocky and Bullwinkle shows, Rocky the Flying Squirrel, and his nemesis Natasha Fatal of Boris and Natasha fame in the early 1960s, and a key figure in the animation industry, died Thursday. She was 99 years old. I know that was a long intro to get there.
Yeah.
But Foray was also the voice behind Looney Tunes' Witch Hazel, Neil from Dudley Do-Right, Granny in the Tweety and Sylvester cartoons, and Cindy Lou Who in Chuck Jones' How the Grinch Stole Christmas, among hundreds of others. Gary, give me the top 3 voice actors of all time for you. So whether this is, a singular performance that they're really well known for, or just a foray of characters.
My top 3 voice actors. Number 3, you have to include him in this. If you haven't gone and watched what he's most famous for, you need to, because it's awesome. His name is Mark Hamill. And if you go, I almost put Kevin Conroy in there, who played Batman in the Batman animated series. But Mark Hamill, for the Joker alone and for his other voice work, he's got to be in there. He's
of course he's known for Luke Skywalker.
He's Luke Skywalker, but he is one of the best voice actors ever, and his Joker is up there with like Heath Ledger's. Is really iconic, and just because of his voice.
You associate his voice with Joker.
Yeah, not to mention the video games as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Speaking of video games, number 2. This is a guy not a lot of people know about, but you should, because he's really talented. His name is Troy Baker.
Okay, there we go.
Troy Baker has done motion. He's like the Andy Serkis of video games.
Yes.
Voiceover and motion capture. He has played some of the biggest roles in video games, which is becoming a widely accepted entertainment and art form. I think he is like a pioneer in that field, and so I have to put him in there because I think we'll look back, and he is, like I said, the Andy Serkis of video games. And number 1. If one role will define you, this is the guy. His name is James Earl Jones, playing the most notorious villain in the galaxy.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think about that.
Some of the biggest pop culture references are from him. Luke, I am your father. Everybody can do that impression, and it's because of him. And so
I thought you were going to go with Robin Williams as Genie, but then it was totally a switch at the end. But that's very...
You got to throw him in there. One role, all he ever did, more iconic than both those guys. So.
All right. I give it to you.
Yes.
Hand off the baton to you.
So, this is a great fact for me. I just found out that people who drink moderately often have a lower risk of developing diabetes than those who stay sober, according to a new study published by the European Association for the Study of Diabetes. Men who drank 14 alcoholic beverages a week had a 43% lower risk of developing diabetes compared to sober men. And women who drank 9 alcoholic beverages a week had a 58% lower risk of developing diabetes. You know me, I love to drink on this podcast. It's part of my fun. That is a habit that I don't think I'll ever break. I'm not a drunk, but I enjoy alcohol.
Okay.
And my question for you is, what is a habit that you will never break, that is beneficial to you?
Right. Besides winning?
Besides winning,
all I do is
Uber
win.
facts.
That's true. That is true. What is a habit I do not intend to break? Well, I do.
Is it the potbelly sandwiches? Because that...
It's not. You know what it is though. I am going to go there, but it's not for the sandwiches. The sandwiches I could drop in a dime.
Oh, but it is potbelly.
But what it is I will never give up my Arnold Palmers.
You do love the Arnie Palmies. Yes.
I will die as infamously quoted by Luke Wright. I will die on that hill, on that Arnold Palmer hill, because I don't drink soda, I don't drink alcoholic beverages.
Yes.
But the farthest of the forays I go into is Arnold Palmer's,
yes.
and for that is the excitement of my drinking life. That part of me, that is the most excitement I get, and without that I will wither up and die like the Wicked Witch of the West.
Lemonade comment.
Yes.
I can concur with that. I cannot give up Dr. Pepper. Mr. Pibb /
Dr. Pepper for you?
Dr. Pepper / Mr. Pibb.
It's a good diet, Dr. Pepper.
Yeah.
It is. That's one drink that is always... Every good memory I've had it's embedded in my brain has been somehow, some way influenced with Dr. Pepper.
Take a man's family, take a man's life. Do not take his Dr. Pepper.
And if we're going bad habits, probably poker. I just love and enjoy poker.
You do love poker.
I do enjoy poker. All right, that was your last one. My last one here Hillary Clinton's next book, titled What Happened, will focus on the former Secretary of State's loss to Donald Trump in November and will be a, quote, cautionary tale about Russia's alleged role in interfering in the election, the Associated Press reports. In a short... I know. In a short... Everybody's getting pouncy on it.
All night right here.
In a short excerpt from the book's introduction, Clinton promised that she would be candid. Quote, in the past, for reasons I try to explain, I've often felt I had to be careful in public, like I was up on a wire without a net, she writes. Now I'm letting my guard down. What Happened is one of 2 new books by Clinton announced by Simon & Schuster earlier this year. Previously, the book had been described by the publisher as an essay collection that would center on Clinton's favorite inspirational quotes. The publisher's new description of What Happened makes clear that it will be a memoir, however, and that it will focus heavily on the possible role of Russia in swaying the election's outcome. Gary, yes. I'm giving you... I know, he's tensing up. He's like, where are we going here?
Can we tag team on this, Gary?
Yes.
Gary, I'm giving you a lifetime opportunity that you could cash in at any time to have an autobiographical memoir about your life written for you. You can use it now, or wait for another time in your life, wait for certain events to transpire, or a certain age to disclose the details of your life. Do you cash it in now, and if not, when? And what do you think it would be about?
Whew, well, let me just have a sigh of relief because I was about to...
You were clenching up there.
I was ready for this political question. Shout out to my girl Hillary for coming out with great books.
But that's actually a very interesting title. I like that title.
Yeah.
But as far as book titles go,
I will probably be a sucker and purchase that book and read it and raise it up and go, yeah!
All right.
But... you know what? I think I have not reached the peak of what I will do. I think I'm a sad human right now, but one day...
So you won't cash in that money in the bank briefcase right now?
Let's say... I want to wait until my... Sorry?
No, I'm just saying, now part of the dilemma is... you take one bad motorcycle accident, God forbid, and...
Well, thanks, man.
I'm just saying. I mean, that's you have to account for that. I mean, I'm obviously getting diabetes over here, but I mean, if you for some reason become mute, or you can't speak, or something were to befall upon you, as in a beverage can? I don't know. I stumbled.
I'm gonna hold out because even if my life turned out to be uneventful, I still think that there are interesting things to be talked about. I'm gonna wait till my deathbed.
Oh.
Because I like hearing stories from old people who haven't done things that are giant, but what's important to you is what matters, and I love hearing things like that. So I'm gonna wait because I think that my life is gonna have some cool stories. Even if I don't do what I want to do, it's gonna be impactful. Now I'm really scared to get on my bike.
Well, I was just gonna say to your point and to your credit, I've never met an elder person that you talk to and ask them about their life without coming away with a sense of astonishment. No matter what, whether they're a president, whether they're just a normal person.
I saw this movie Dunkirk when it came out. Yeah, I was in the theater for that.
And it's amazing to see and hear people where they've had multiple lives, where they even Elvis, even what he does, I forget that he was in the army. I mean, there's just different elements of everybody's life that you forget. Richard Nixon used to be a poker player.
A lot of people don't know that I at one point was enlisted in the Navy for a short time. And that would be a cool thing to tell someone when I'm 90. I'd be like, hey, son.
I didn't even know that.
I'm so young. I'm wearing a shirt.
Wow, what a coincidence.
In the Navy.
You just said that, and I was like, oh yeah, I did that once. So,
I did that once. See, and there's a lot of things about you, but now, if you have Alzheimer's, forget it.
True.
The tables have turned.
That was one of my best puns without even knowing it.
If you have Alzheimer's, forget it.
Oh my gosh, that's going in the yearly outtakes. That's fantastic.
Somebody write that one.
Wow,
I could not have written that better myself.
I thought I was the punniest man alive. I have met the king right here.
Wow, that's ingrained in there. I didn't even mean for that to slip out. That was just... Wow, I'm actually astounded by my pun right there. Okay, so Gary...
Yes.
This is the part of the show where we are going to tell the good folks at home what it is, what film we're doing next.
Would you like to do the honors, or would you like me to do the honors? Or should we say it on 3?
Let's do it on 3.
Okay.
All right.
Hunter, do you want to count to 3?
All right.
I'm really excited for this one. Ever since I saw the first
This is your Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I'm stoked for this.
All right, here we go, Hunter. Count us down.
1, 2, 3.
Charlize Theron.
What? Atomic Blonde.
Well, you didn't even say it. I was trying to get a
You said
mix of
Charlie's. Okay, Atomic Blonde. That's
there
what we're
we go.
seeing.
All right.
Jason Bourne with Charlize Theron. So I am stoked for this movie.
Cue Blue Moon.
Cue the blue moon.
Cue the blue moon. But it looks pretty good as far as
It's
action
fun.
sequences of
It's.
it.
I mean, it's probably going to be, hopefully, an above average by the numbers action movie with a woman in the starring role, which I am down for that.
Yeah.
Not
all the
seen
fight
since
scenes.
Alien.
Yeah.
The fight scenes are all practical as well. I've read all the things that she was
did it all
actually trained to
herself.
fight and to
Uses
martial
minimal
arts.
stun doubles out here.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Hunter.
Of course.
It was a pleasure, and anytime Gary needs a self-esteem boost, we will do Uber facts and call you
I
an answer.
am your ringer.
You'll be
I
a
am
ring
your
his Huckleberry.
Alcohol does not do that for you. It is me.
There you go. Yeah, even Gary's girlfriend won't lose to him. So you
I was at the
fulfill
buy
it.
dinner, man. Every
That's
time.
true. You
Every
lose those
time I
bets
do it.
constantly.
Wow.
All right. Well, for all of Chopped Greens, it has been. Oh, we haven't even trained him on this. I'm sorry.
Whoa.
Okay, this is
Easy.
Here I am sitting all awkwardly like,
I know.
okay, let's finish this. How do we finish
behind
this?
the curtain. We just say, and I point to you, and then you say your name. Okay, let's do it. And for all of Chopped Greens, this has been.
Hunter Goetz.
Gary Boucher, author of GaryBearReviews.com.
Yes. What happened to
What
GaryBearReviews.com?
do you happen to it? It's still up and running.
I just meant Hillary Clinton. Because of what happened.
Ah.
You forgot about it already. And for Chopped Greens, I am Philip Amerine. Thank you so much for joining us. For all of our archived episodes, please visit my YouTube channel, and you can find all of our older episodes, including Planet of the Apes and even Alien Covenant. I know
Yes.
that's a personal favorite for you, Hunter.
Yes, sir, it
and
is.
for SoundCloud, we've got all of our newest episodes, including this one, Dunkirk, and we have next week we'll be doing Atomic Blonde. Pretty soon we'll be adding to our Facebook collection a video detailing our punishment video concerning Luke Wright and what he had to do there. Thank you so much for listening, and for all of us from here at Chopped Greens, bye.